Yeah.
Mr. Casper originally, but moved down here when was sworn in at the beginning of the year, and it's great to be in Laramie County Republic. Now, I believe what our state needs right now, in light of the attacks on our values, our industry, is strong conservative leadership. Not just rhetoric, not just talk, but follow through. And that's why the first thing I did when entering office was to make our number one priority, bringing to the legislature a bill to ban crossover voting, something that had affected our state for decades. And yes, we brought that through. Worked with the legislature on that. And there's still attacks trying to weaken this bill, but having a 90-day period banning crossover voting, which had become a big problem in our Republican primaries, that's a big win for our state, and that's going to protect and make sure that our Republican primary identifies who real Republicans want to represent them in the general election. That's why we've been pushing back on attempts to remove President Trump from the ballot. And this is, of course, the left, as we know, they always try to accuse us of what they're guilty of. And this is a real insurrection. This is real election interference. Trying to remove President Trump from the ballot. Down there in Colorado, the Secretary of State's looking at that. And New Hampshire, unfortunately, who has a key primary, was looking at that. So we were the only Secretary of State to weigh in and to tell the New Hampshire Secretary of State why that was wrong. And luckily, it looks like he's backing off. And we really thought that was an important thing to do. That's why we are bringing through an historic rulemaking through our compliance division. We oversee stockbrokers, broker-dealers, investment advisors. We're bringing through an anti-ESG rulemaking to make sure that Wyomingites will not be unwittingly sold these investments that are not profit maximizing. They're trying to turn on its head centuries of what it means to be a fiduciary. I mean, this goes back to the English Commonwealth, that stockbrokers, investment advisors are fiduciaries that are supposed to pursue profit-maximizing behavior for their clients, and if they're not, they're going to have to disclose that. And that's why we've worked to bring through a very strong statement through the slip board, an anti-ESG statement. Very concerned about some language that went through the slip board a couple of weeks ago, some anti-coal language, and we're working to get that out of the contract and hope that the Treasury can work on that because we need to bring that to the finish line. The other thing we're doing is tightening up our registration rules, and we're stay tuned on that. We're going to be doing rulemaking on that, banning drop boxes, and then being forward-thinking. One of the things that is a hole in our statute is that there's no durational residency requirement for voting. Aficionados of our Constitution, I'm sure you know that there was a year-long residency requirement in our Constitution that was struck down in 1972. And since then, the legislature hasn't clarified in statute whether there's a durational requirement. So there's nothing there in statute. So we're trying to bring through, and this is what has survived, the strongest language that has survived constitutional scrutiny, a 30-day residency requirement, durational residency requirement. That's what about 25 states have that survived constitutional scrutiny, and we hope to bring that through because that's a big hole in our statute. If individuals can cross over from Colorado and claim they're a bona fide resident for 15 seconds that they intended to stay and dilute your votes in Laramie County. So that's why we're trying to bring that through. We're working to ban third-party interference. Thank you. We're working to ban third-party interference in our elections. As you know, those that watched 2000 Mules, there was an enormous attempt to influence our elections with billions of dollars that was donated by Zuckerberg and a few other big donors, and we sent a letter to the clerks that they need to watch out for this. There's a trend in the West that they're trying to bring this through election clerks in Utah and Montana, so we need to be on the lookout on that, and brought through a bill unanimously through the Corporations Committee to ban third-party interference and hope to bring that through during the session. In our business division, we have our director back there, Colin Crossman. We're up 30% in our business. Don't believe the media. They said that everything was going to fall apart when we took office, and we're up 30%, and that's over $65 million every biennium that decreases the tax burden on you. And on that note, talking about tax burden, we just brought through our office, and the initiative process is very important. It's in our Constitution that the people can bring forward statutes in areas that aren't being addressed by the executive, legislative, judicial branches, and individuals are bringing through a 50% property tax exemption. We've seen the enormous problems statewide. As a legislator, I brought a bill to cap property tax at 3% in 2021, and they said, well, it was just a Natrona and Teton County problem. That's what they said in 2021. Of course, then 6 months later, it really did go statewide, and since then have continued to try to bring through bills the legislature has, and the refund program's been strengthened, but we really need to get some caps, acquisition value, and there's this group that is bringing forward a clear constitutional approach to bring a 50% tax exemption through an initiative process. So we brought that through our office and are very excited as they begin that signature process, that 18-month process. Thank you for your time. My cell phone number is 251-1372. If you ever want to come into our office, you're a Laramie County Republican, so you're right here. I always offer this. It's just we're right down the block, right there in downtown. Love to have you in our office. Love to talk with Wyoming Republicans about their hopes, their visions for the future, and their vision for our state. So call me anytime. My number is 251-1372. Thank you very much, and thank you for Laramie County Party and all your work.